I used to be endless patients. And then, you have a child. I went through a lot of fertility treatments as well. And my body was very unhappy and just no patience. So quick to be irritable, short. It's not how I want to be, not how I want to show up. And it can even happen to me now, but I just have the tools and the awareness to go, when's the last time I really fueled myself with some sodium, potassium, magnesium, things like calcium, we tend to get a little easier. So I have more tools down. That's what I love to give people.
Ladies, welcome back to the Women of Fort Mill podcast. My name is Leah Williams. I am one of your co-hosts, and I've been really excited to have our guest back. She's been here once before. This podcast is all about sharing conversations with incredible women who are adding value to the community, helping other women live a healthier, more full, more empowered life. Today's guest is someone that I think will really change your life. So Katie Linden with The Balanced Way. She's been on here just once before, but Katie's deeply passionate about helping people understand their bodies, not through these crazy trends that we see on Instagram or through quick fixes, but going back to the foundation, which she's going to talk more about is really minerals. So Katie works with women that are exhausted, hormonally off, like we're all raising our hands, or just women that don't feel like themselves anymore. So whether that's through perimenopause or major life transitions, her mission's simple, but very powerful. Help people give their bodies the resources they actually need so they can function the way they were designed to. So Katie, I'm grateful you're here and you're going to help us. So welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Leah. And I love to chat minerals and all the things. And it's been my own journey too. And I love to help people not make the missteps I've made. Mm-hmm. And I've been in this nutrition, holistic wellness world for like 30 years. So I've seen all the trends. I see things come back, and it always gives you pause, and it gives you humility to know that, like they say, the more you know you don't know. And it's really true. And so I just love to offer what I can to help people not make the same mistakes I did.
Especially when it's related to something as serious as your health or your child or your family's, which I think when you have a health event, nothing else matters. I mean, money, the trips, all the things, when you have a health crisis, that is all you're focused on. And there's so much noise, it's hard to know what to do. So could you shed some light on all the things that we hear about? Now it's so welcomed and known that gut and brain are so connected. But I remember the first time I heard that years ago, like, that's so weird. What is that?
I know.
But you focus on that, detox protocols, GI mapping, supplements, fasting, it's overwhelming. So could you walk us through why all those things that are good, why you start with minerals?
Yeah. So because of my own journey, right? So I've done all the things, followed the latest trends, and sometimes they work and sometimes they are helpful. And sometimes they do help you create a new habit. And we're all individual people. So we have to kind of listen to our gut and go down the next path that we're inspired to. But what I have learned is, for example, detoxing. I used to help people do a lot of elimination diets and detoxing. And it's interesting in this space, as the holistic nutrition space changes a little bit, there is a trend away from it. And this is something I saw 2 to 3 years ago when I was getting trained in hair tissue mineral analysis, because it's funny, it's over a 50-year-old lab. It's very inexpensive based on like oodles of blood work, and shows your mineral status and your heavy metal status. And one of the things I learned is if your 4 core minerals, which is sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, if these are not in balance and robust enough, your body's not ready to detox at all. It's actually going to be sequestering things away. So it's been interesting because everyone I test, no one's ready to detox. No one. Wow. So you're actually going to reduce your reserves. You're going to put more strain on your adrenal glands, raise your cortisol. You're going to need more adrenaline and cortisol, those stress hormones, to live off of, which we live off these anyway. Right. So it's just been an interesting journey to go, gosh, it was in my intuition that I was done doing these elimination diets or these cleanses and detoxes, like pushing my body. Our body's always detox, by the way, like every day. Yeah. So we just want to support them to do that naturally. And so that was a bit of my shift of why I got to what is the foundation? I'm a root cause. Like, what is the very bare bones? What's the basic building block? And I've always been uncovering that in many ways in health. But when I'm focusing on nutrition and what our body needs, it's minerals, and we need them from outside of us, right? Daily. And I think there's a trend, right? Electrolytes, you probably drink one. right?
Like, Katie, I do so much for the members of my family, but then when it comes to myself, some things I do well, but a lot of things I know better and I'm not doing them. So you would just beat me up if you saw.
Well, it's actually good that you're not taking it. So most electrolytes out there are like sodium based, or they're mega doses of one mineral. Like we all know magnesium. I have a little mini class I do for free called Magnesium Matters, because it does. And a lot of us know about it. And I should take some, either it's for digestion or sleep or all the things. But when we take mega doses of one mineral, it can actually throw the balance off. And actually new research is starting to show it can throw the microbiome off, the gut bacteria balance. It's fascinating. And so what we really want is, how does nature give us minerals? It used to give us from the soil primarily. So there's other ways. I like something called BEAM, BEAM minerals. They come from the earth and they're liquid and they're tasteless. They taste like water, but they're already in balance. So that's the other thing about these electrolyte drinks. And the myth I like to dispel is that we should drink half of our body weight in ounces a day in water and carry around these giant water things around. And I've certainly done it myself, but we are diluting our minerals. So it's, again, like I talk about food, it's quality versus quantity often. So the quality of the water you're drinking and replenishing. And so a really high quality full mineral spectrum salt would be one thing you put on the back of your tongue. I have some in my water right here. That can be much more of an electrolyte than a prepackaged little thing that has sugars and dyes and some things in it. So
Okay, so this is fascinating to me. Now, when I hear things from Food Health Administration, I generally think probably false, because I've just trained myself to be like, they're probably misinformation. But for the longest time, it was watch your sodium, watch your salt intake, don't eat fat, like all of the things. And so for years, we would get low fat everything, low salt, no sodium, when in reality, our body might be craving good fat, might be craving good salt. So is this something that you walk people through? Because there's so many things contradicting. And while I'm usually the person that's like, if it's being broadcasted, it's probably false.
Oh, I'm the same. But great question, because sodium, people have a lot of fear. Like we used to have fear around fat. I hope that has shifted finally. That low fat, non-fat craze is gone. We need healthy fat. Fat fuels the brain and all that. But sodium's similar, because table salt, which is stripped and it's just the sodium, that can raise blood pressure and do sorts of things. But most salt, it's a rock from the ocean, right? So it has all trace minerals. It's not just sodium. And it has a way different impact on the blood. So a lot of people know about pink salt, pink Himalayan or Celtic salt. Some of these, they're good. However, there's always a nuance in my world, right? There's something always wrong. And the reason is like how they mine it, the explosives. So those heavy metals can be found in the salt. So you want one that's third-party tested. I found one called Baja Gold. I love it. You can get it on Amazon. I'll have a link where you can get a link to like my mineral helpers and foot soaks and get on my list if you want for this type of information. But very simple things like a high quality salt. When you are a little ragey, a little irritable, that's a sodium issue. So all those, I like to talk to moms. Yeah. A lot of my moms, it's a sodium dehydration issue. And a lot of times that salt, that sodium is going to help funnel the water and the other things into the cell. So we have a sodium potassium pump on our cell, and we need enough sodium and we need enough potassium to open and close the cell and to take things in and out. And then those dissolve the hard minerals like calcium and magnesium. So it's fascinating. And that's again why I go back to the hair test, because minerals are intracellular. They should be in the cell, not floating around the blood so much. And there's a certain rate of loss into soft tissue like hair that we know is normal. So if you have low or high, but what I see constantly, I can tell what somebody's supplementing with as soon as I see their hair test. I'm like, you take magnesium, lots of it. It's not in your cell, it's in your hair. So, but it's because it threw that balance off. And this often what I see is sodium and potassium is so low, out of balance with one another, but so low. So my tips for people are always like, don't be scared of the salt. If you're feeling thirsty, put some salt in the back of your tongue, let it melt, and then take a little bit of water. That might help you more. And then the other thing is, can we be mindful of our potassium? I always say protein is the one thing we do need to be mindful of on getting our macros and all of that. Potassium, I offer people a little test, is like, go count your potassium of the day. Use Google, just how much potassium is in this and this and this, and get your daily. It should be about 4,700 milligrams a day. And it's probably, most of us get 1,000 to 1,500, maybe 2,000. So again, yes, potassium based drinks. And I do have some drinks that are helpers for people, because some days we just can't get everything we need from food. So I'm very mindful of that, of being realistic. But yeah, Yeah, that's why salt, if you're feeling ragey, you probably need salt.
Well, I was going to ask, what are some common things that women come to you?
Ragey?
Sometimes we know that there's so much stress, whether you have, hardest job, stay at home mom, or mom and work outside of the home. We already know that there's tons of stress on us. And then sometimes we get to a breaking point if there's lack of sleep. And that's kind of what we blame it on. It's just, I'm stressed. Wow, this is a really hard phase I'm in with my child and I'm tired. And that's just kind of like okay, well, maybe one day I'll get a little bit of sleep but I would never think it's an imbalance related to sodium.
Sodium or your minerals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what women do come to me for, that ragey, irritable, like we don't feel like ourselves. This is me too. Like I used to be endless patience. And then, you have a child. I went through a lot of fertility treatments as well. And my body was very unhappy and just no patience. So quick to be irritable, short. It's not how I want to be, not how I want to show up. And it can even happen to me now, but I just have the tools and the awareness to go, when's the last time I really fueled myself with some sodium, potassium, magnesium, things like calcium, we tend to get a little easier. So I have more tools down. That's what I love to give people. The other, people come to me for the typical, it's kind of 35, 40 and older, like my hormones are shifting. I feel that bloaty puffiness, that brain fog, the fatigue, the tired. And the other thing is women that are like, I know like you, Leah, me, like, let's turn over every stone. Let's figure out what's going on. Like, how can I support my body or my kid, right? Like people that have done everything. And this is me. I've done everything, every protocol, followed this doctor, that doctor, worked with this holistic practitioner, this functional person. I've done heavy metal chelation. I've done everything. Like, everything. Yeah. And why don't I still feel great? And this was for me the big shift. So I often like to work people too that are like, I've done it all. I get it. I know how to eat right. I know how to do all these things. Yeah. Something's missing. So I think that's the gamut. So it's really anyone that doesn't feel like suboptimal, but it really, we have all this talk too right now about nervous system regulation, right? That's a big topic and it's a needed one, but we can't regulate our nervous system on a depleted cellular level either. So again, that sodium and potassium and that magnesium really helps us.
And that's why we feel so defeated, because we are putting the work in. We're paying for coaches, or we're doing energy work, all the things, because we are so committed to trying to be our best selves. And yet we feel like we're hitting this wall where we're like, it's not working. I'm not regulated, or, and it's defeating. We're all trying so hard.
Well, let me interject on that. And I like to give people just a little like reality check. To live in our world is slightly toxic. Our foods are laden with chemicals, the air we breathe, the amount of EMFs, which on these beautiful computers that do these things, but like we get exposed to so much more than our ancestors. So it's also like, okay, you're not crazy. And it is a little harder to be healthier now. And also ignorance is bliss. Yet most of us get hit with some type of dis-ease in our body at some point, and we have to take some ownership. And that's just the truth. I like families I working with families a lot, and a lot of preteens and teens, to teach them about food and their connection. How does that food make you feel? What is a healthy food? What isn't? Like trying not to make good and bad, but what's nourishing food? What's more of a fun food, a sometimes food? And it's hard for the kid that can't eat gluten or can't eat dairy or can't have all these things. I say, but your body's smart and intelligent, and you're just learning what you need to do to feel your best for the rest of your life. And unfortunately, that is the environment we live in. So these are skills we all need to have now, unfortunately. I have people, my grandmother lived to be, 96, ate whatever, smoked and drank this. And then I'm like, yeah, it's true, but it's how many generations we are now in utero we're exposed. So it's just one of those things. It just is. We just have to deal with it. But it's also to normalize that, it is a little harder, but let's shift our mindset, because that's a big thing. Like the other thing I like to focus on, because I am one, is the people that focus, what's wrong? What's wrong? There's something wrong. I could do something better. And what you focus on grows, right? You know this. So if we focus on our health being bad or all the time. So that's part of what I teach as well. And I teach in my course, I kind of thread it through as well.
Well, I think that's an important element, because sometimes in this health journey, you become so obsessed with good intention, because you're trying to heal, you're trying to feel or look better. But to have someone say, yeah, that's not bad food. Let's not label it that way, but let's look at what fills you up. What is, almost visualizing your cells are hungry for things and the things that make them so happy. And in return, they make you feel good, especially for kids and teens. I mean, we had such distorted views of food and how we should look when we were growing up. And so just start there and work with the family as a whole, because kids are modeling the mom, and these, poor moms are stressed out. We're trying to be strong, look a certain way, be a certain way, and we're stressed out, not regulated, and we're raging. And that's a terrible model for children. So, and then you bring it down to a more simple level to say, instead of detoxing or doing 100 things at once, let's start with a couple things so that there's a win. Like, that's what we're all looking for is, I want to put work in. I need something. I need to see progress, or help me see a baby win. That's what we want.
Yeah. That's super important. We have to feel, because it's really disheartening and demotivating to be making such effort and then feeling nothing. And I've been there too. And it's not a perfect path. Actually, sometimes when I start to replenish someone's minerals, well, not me, they're doing it. I'm helping them. Sometimes the body is like, woo, we're going to get rid of this now, and we're going to get rid of that because we have a little more cellular energy, and then they don't feel as good. Other symptoms crop up, or things that had been dormant. So it's not a perfect, progress is not that perfect curve. But so that does happen too sometimes. But yeah, we need wins so we can feel good. And that's, again, I love to teach the foundations of real health and wellness.
What would you suggest for, say mom's listening, that's like, I check every box. I'm foggy, I'm irritable, I don't sleep as well. And it's easy to point the finger at the other stressors in our life that are making an impact, for sure, but it's made so much worse by the state that we're in. What would you recommend to them? I know you have a course coming up, but what's common is, especially for women, I'm too busy. I've got too many things going on. I've got to take care of everybody else. And whether we mean to or not, we're kind of like way in back burner. So what would you say to them, knowing that you've been there and know a simpler way that can still be effective?
So I start with some of the basics. And one of them is the high quality salt. Get a good salt in your life. And the other is topical. So so many of us have disrupted gut. So when you put something on your skin's your largest organ. What you put on it gets absorbed within 30 seconds is the stats around your bloodstream one time. So let's get rid of the gut, which that's an issue. Take tons of supplements is another issue in my industry. You just pill for every ill, like in the pharma world, it's like become that in the nutrition world. So I'm also big on trying to scale that back, but topical. So topical magnesium lotion is a great one you can use in the bottoms of your feet, really all over your body, multiple times a day. That is an easy helper. I use it for kids, adults. I use it all the time. And the high quality salt, like those two things. Then I do have things like your foot soaks. That's one of my number one protocols. So if you want that, there's going to be a link and you can get my foot soak recipe, because again, you bypass that gut. You can put magnesium, potassium in there, a little borax, which is like boron or MK7, K2 people, they shuttle the hard minerals in. So again, it's working on the balance. So maybe it's a bath, maybe it's a foot soak, but topical magnesium and high quality salt, I feel like people can make that change right away, and it really can make a difference. So those are some of it. And then, of course, I love my course. It's called The Wellness Blueprint. This is the reason I created it. It's the affordable way. Like a lot of people will say, Leah, like, I want a coach, or, I'm done. I paid for a million coaches or a nutritionist or whatever. And so I've had so many chats with like my acupuncturist and massage therapist, functional medicine, homeopathy, whatever. What do we wish all of our clients that we had more time to handhold them through? So I talk about the tenets of nutrition, not the fads of nutrition. This is different. It's how to source quality nutrients. Yes, we do talk about protein and macros and all of that. Yes, I do talk about gluten, but I'm not, everybody has to go gluten dairy free. I'm actually not that anymore. And I did it for a while, and it did serve me, but a healthy body should be able to handle some of this if you're not, celiacs or intolerant completely. So I teach what's wrong with the gluten we have. It's the glyphosate, the chemicals. I teach all of that. I teach then label reading, because so many of us mean well, and we see that package and it's green and it has the organic stamp. We're like, yay, I'm doing well for my family. And then I help people understand, we turn it over and it's filled with seed oils or some odd sweetener that's going to disrupt your insulin. And so I have people become a label detective, and then I talk about supplements, but minerals first versus, and then what supplements does most people want to look at and how to source a quality supplement. Can't even just go buy those from Amazon. So that's half the course. And then the other half is your household. And that's the easy breezy one. That's like, oh, I'm just informed now. And my next purchase, I can make a different purchase for a non-toxic, non-fragrance laundry detergent or household cleaner, or start looking about my pots and pans, like things that really make a huge, like when I see heavy metal in someone's hair and their tissue, it's largely usually coming from household stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you can get metal, so metals, they like can take the parking spot of the mineral on the cell. So you really want to get your, I mean, we think we all know heavy metals, not so great for our brain, not so great for the body. So we want to enable our body to get rid of them. And we do that by bolstering minerals. So we look at the household, air quality. I look at the gut brain, and we do some practical things in class where we get to practice that nervous system stuff. I'm big on like, let's weave it into everything we do, and it doesn't have to take a long time. And then the last one, I kind of changed my last class. I'm excited. It's about lymphatics, light, and labs. So the lymphatic system and what we can do every day with just like 1 minute a day to really help that system. The light we see. This is the biggest change, I think, in the nutrition world, is that we're in junk light. Like I'm sitting with a light in front of me, right? I have good light coming from outside, but it's hot, right? And then the computer. Yes. But just some simple habits of morning and evening outdoor light, and learning that we don't really need to wear sunglasses all the time. And things like this that really impact our biology, our circadian rhythm. So your ability to fall asleep at night has to do with, did you see any light this morning? That has more to do with it than a lot of everything else. So the research on this is just fascinating. And again, these simple shifts, these big foundations, I like to help people. And that's why I call it the wellness blueprint. Your blueprint's going to be different than mine, and where you are in your health journey is different. So I have an assessment for pre and post, and then you get to pick your adventure, like pick one thing each week. I will give one homework that we all do, and we communicate the portal. So you have a container during our 6 weeks together. And I do it live. I am going to have an evergreen course, but I love doing it live. I think there's nothing like it. Of course, we're not in person, but live on Zoom. And I love the course. I'm also going to talk a little bit about functional labs and the difference, so people can understand and be their own informed, savvy consumer when they are at their doctor and they're being told, oh, their cholesterol's, their LDL is too high. That's a big one. And yes, that's not always agreed upon in functional medicine. So things like that I'm going to touch on. I'm just happy to offer this course. It's really a heart project of mine, the way that I could get the information that I have discerned over 30 years and the things that people ask me all the time, and that would really create a stable foundation for people versus like a quick fad or like a detox or a cleanse. So that's what the course is. So if you want to join me, we have one starting the end of January 2026, and then I'll have a few others during the year. So I'll offer it a few times.
Amazing. We will make sure the link, the information for the course, and just for Katie in general is available, because all the things you mentioned, everyone who listens to this can check at least one of these boxes to say, that's me. And while, yes, it can feel overwhelming, if you knew that, okay, well, I can start with a few things. I was so proud of myself. I bought plant toilet paper and tissues.
Very good.
So, those things that are so easy, like the cleaners, it's really easy to do. Technically, you just kind of change up what you're ordering or buying from the store. And so I think taking the pressure off and realizing this over time, your life is going to look a lot different. But immediately, we're going to start with a few things and you'll see change, and then we'll just build on that. Well, Katie, thank you so much for the work you're doing, the information that you're shedding light on, and making it doable for us to create change, because we all feel this way, whether in our 30s, 40s. It's almost inevitable that unless we're focused on these things, we will feel this way. Our bodies will start to get angry because we're not giving them what they need. So, like I said, we will post all of the links so people can connect with you. And the course starts the 27th. Is that right? Of January?
27th of January. Yeah.
Okay. And you can still do it from your home, but at least you'll have Katie live on Zoom walking you through things. You can ask questions. So to all the women listening, if any of this resonated with you, I'd encourage you to share it with your friends. They feel tired. They feel depleted and angry sometimes. We all do.
A little ragey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so many things that we don't like about ourselves. And it's not necessarily our fault, but now that we know there's information available to help us change how we feel, it's our responsibility to do it. So thank you, Katie, for being a part of our community, for being willing to share what you've spent the last 30 years researching and living yourself. So we'd love for you to follow Katie, start working with her. Just do it on the 27th. You won't regret it. I've talked to so many people that have been in her course, and so many of them have said she should have charged more.
I'm told that my resources people feel are even worth more, because you get a resource packet each class with all my vetted resources. So it is to make it easy.
And buy Baja Gold salt and the magnesium lotion.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Yeah, ancient minerals. It's easy enough to get on Amazon, and it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. Can't wait to have you back. And January 27th, put it on your calendars and look for the show notes to get the link. So wishing you all an amazing day. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you.